Hello friends, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. Today I'm going to talk about yet another scent that comes out of the House of Fragrance world. But this time around this won't be a clone fragrance, this time around it will be an unique creation from the brand of Fragrance world. The fragrance itself is called Exposé Unisexe, and as I said, this is a unique Fragrance world creation that actually turned out to be very good. So join me in this video today so I can tell you more about Exposé Unisexe. A quick look at the packaging, the presentation and the bottle design of Exposé Intense. I think it deserves a little bit of sort of a mentioning because it's quite interesting. The fragrance comes packaged in this black colored box with golden accents. On the front you got the Fragrance World logo, you got the name of the fragrance. On the back you got some additional information, a sticker of authenticity. Somewhere on the back there's a production date stamped on which reads January of 2024. But the interesting thing about the actual box is that you need to slide those parts apart like this, and then you get some more information about the bottle design, which is bottle size, which is 80 milliliters, the concentration, which is EDP, and in order to get to the bottle you need to pull this sort of a door thing out like this. Once you do all that, you are greeted by the bottle, which has this interesting, quite unique design, especially when it comes to the cap. It has quite a lot of heft. The fragrance itself doesn't have a real cap on, it has this sliding thing on. At first I thought this was a stopper in order to sort of stop you from spraying the fragrance itself, but the reality is that you can actually spray with this thing on, so I don't know why they put it here. I'm not a huge fan of this, but I cannot deny the fact that the fragrance actually comes nicely, quite uniquely packaged, and apart from this thingy on top, actually looks really and feels really nice. The note breakdown of Exposé Intense has the following notes. The top notes are pepper, fruity notes and aquatic notes. The middle notes are gaiac oud, praline, tonka beans and patchouli. And the base notes are cedar oud, amber, vanilla and moss. To my nose, there are a few very important notes that are missing from this note breakdown, but I'll talk about that in a second. I'll show you the spray in action and then I'll tell you about the scent of this fragrance. Spray is actually, pretty good, puts a nice amount of juice out. And now onto the scent of Exposé Intense. As I said, after reading the note breakdown of this fragrance, there's a few very important notes that are missing out of that note breakdown. And the first one and the most important one is the boozy note that this fragrance has. It has a very strong boozy note, probably one of the strongest boozy notes that I've encountered when it comes to perfumery fragrances. It opens up very boozy, very sweet. There's a hint of spiciness that comes out from that pepper note, that black pepper note. I can't say that I pick up much of the fruity notes or the aquatic notes that are listed. The opening of this fragrance is all about the sweetness from the vanilla and the amber notes, that very strong boozy note, and I also pick up a hint of a coffee note in the opening of this fragrance. It's also a bit oody right from the get-go, but the main players here in the opening are the boozy note and the amber and the vanilla. Once this starts to go into the dry down, it becomes a little bit more oody. The cedar oud is definitely there. I cannot say that I pick up much of the listed gaiac oud, to be honest, but on the dry down the amber and the vanilla notes start to become even more prominent. The boozy note from the opening starts to lose a little bit its strength. The coffee note that I pick up a hint of in the opening becomes a little bit stronger on the dry down. But again, this is a very sweet fragrance from the opening to the dry down. All in all, it's a very interesting fragrance that, as I said in the opening of this video, is a unique Fragrance world creation. It's not a clone of anything. But there are a few fragrances that this sort of reminds me a little bit. One of those fragrances is Code Profumo from the Code line, Code Profumo and Code Profumo Absolute from Armani. It's not a clone, it's not super close to those fragrances, but it's kind of reminiscent of those, at least in my mind. And one other fragrance that this is a little bit sort of like I feel connected a little bit, is Ultra Malt from Jean Paul Gaultier. It's not very similar, but because of the strong vanilla sweetness that I get out of Exposé Intense, it's kind of reminiscent to Ultra Malt. But again, this is a standalone fragrance from Fragrance World, a unique and interesting creation from them. When it comes to performance, Exposé Unisexe turned out to be a very decent performer. I've been getting about 8 hours of performance out of this fragrance with a nice projection in the first up to 2 hours. It's somewhat of a loud fragrance, can be a room filler if you overspray a little bit, but performance wise it's pretty decent, well above average. 8 hours of longevity with about 2 hours of a good projection. When it comes to the price tag, you know, this can vary a little bit from site to site, you know, wherever you look. But at least here in Europe, I've seen this go for prices from 35 to 45 euros, which in my opinion is an okay deal, especially if you can get it for the lower price tag like I did. I paid about 35 euros at that price point. I think it's an okay deal. Not the best or the cheapest fragrance in the world, but still a pretty decent deal. And when it comes to versatility, this is definitely a scent that's orientated towards the colder months of the year, definitely a nighttime scent. It leans a little bit masculine, but as the name would suggest, Exposé Unisexe, because of the amount of sweetness in here, this definitely can work for some girls out there as well. And on to my final thoughts about Exposé Unisexe from the House of Fragrance World. As I said, this turned out to be a very interesting scent. One of those rare occasions where, the brand of Fragrance World actually created something unique that's not a straight up clone or copy of anything out there. It's very sweet, it's very boozy, has an interesting coffee note in here. All in all, it's a very, very interesting scent that is definitely unisex, but because of the especially because of the amount of that strong boozy note that you get that I get out of this fragrance, definitely leans a little bit to the masculine side. But all in all, it's an interesting fragrance, has very good performance, well above average. The price tag is acceptable. The quality here is good, the scent, the presentation is very interesting, and if I have to name one definitive con about this fragrance, it will be the bottle size, which is 80 milliliters. Again, I've said this many times before, but I really hate it when brands do that. I would have preferred this to come in a 100 milliliter bottle size. But apart from that, really I cannot fault it for anything else. It's a very, very interesting fragrance that definitely deserves some attention and deserves to be checked out. If you enjoy boozy fragrances, fragrances with a very strong boozy vibe and that are also quite sweet, with lots of amber and vanilla and a hint of coffee, then definitely check out Exposé Unisexe from Fragrance World. All in all, this fragrance gets a big like from me. So guys, in today's video I showed you a very interesting and unique creation from the House of Fragrance World. That's actually their own creation, not a straight up clone of anything. That's called Exposé Unisexe. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in the next one. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.